Hi guys, Sam Marsden here from the Wolfhound channel. So this is my first video reviewing one of the chapters in the book, The Dyslexic Advantage. I've got a copy of the book right here. Now this is a paper copy. I use the audio version. But I do suggest that you go out and get yourself a copy. I will have a link in the description for that, and that you listen along or read along as I go through these videos, as I'll be talking about each chapter and my life's experience and thoughts in contrast to the content within that chapter. So let's get started. I think let's talk about the first opening line, which is in 2004 it was published that entrepreneurs are 5 times more likely to suffer from dyslexia, and that's a mad statistic. And the book doesn't really talk about the article itself, but through a bit of digging I found out that this was published by the Symphonic Research Centre, which is part of the Cass Business School in London. And I couldn't find the original article, but I did find a subsequent article published by them and Professor Julie Logan. And in that article, which I'll also have in the description below, it talks about how 70% of the dyslexic people who made it from the first stage of questions into the second stage talk about how badly they did at school and how really they failed in the school system. But yet they still went on to be successful. And the book, The Dyslexic Advantage, talks about the types of successful people out there with dyslexia, like Sir Richard Branson, who's the head of Virgin, Sir Alan Sugar from The Apprentice, or even Sir Norman Foster. And if you haven't heard of the last one, I'm pretty sure you've seen some of his buildings dotted along the London skyline, as Sir Norman Foster is a very famous architect. But to move on, it starts to talk about in the book about how people with dyslexia have a unique type of suffering. And that really hit a nerve with me, because it's true. Whenever you're younger and you're going through the school system, you have a lot of pressure on you. And dyslexia really adds to that and is difficult to deal with. Not to mention the sort of social stigmas and bullying that goes along and around it. But to continue, this book and this web series is not about dyslexia. It's not about teaching you how to read. It's about telling you and showing you the types of people who are diagnosed with dyslexia and the individuals that they are. So, the book talks about how the attributes that people with dyslexia have form recognizable patterns. And this is important for whenever we try and understand the difference between a child with dyslexia struggling with a spelling test and seen to have a disability versus someone like myself who is a robotics engineer and a computer programmer, who I have access to spell check, to Google, and my dyslexia never affects my ability to do my job. And if you think about it, and also the book touches on this, it's a bit like a sport. If you want to get better at a sport, you want to see a pro player, you want to understand their strategies and how they succeed, and you want to take on those strategies. Dyslexia is exactly the same. You want to look at successful dyslexic people, understand their strategies, understand where they're succeeding, and use that to help yourself be a benefit in your life, essentially. And to this end, the book moves on to talking about the mind strengths. Now these are important, and they're going to get at least one chapter each and a few videos each as well, because they are just that key to understanding dyslexia and understanding how you're going to succeed. And right now I'll just list them off for you, and they are material reasoning, interconnected reasoning, narrative reasoning, and dynamic reasoning. Right. So part 1 is a matter of perspective, with the first chapter being a new view on dyslexia. In this chapter, there's a long list of people who have succeeded, not despite their dyslexia, but because of their dyslexia. And that's on page 5 if you're curious. Now, in it, it also talks about how people have faced legal battles over the years as a result of dyslexia to get the help they've needed. And I'm no stranger to this. I had to go to court to get into a secondary school in Northern Ireland because the school I wanted to go to didn't want me because I was dyslexic. And that's unfortunate, because just as the book touches on, dyslexia comes down to a point of view. They use the analogy of a telescope. If you look through one end, it can seem to diminish things and make them seem smaller. If you look through the correct end, it can magnify things and make it seem bigger. And that's what it comes down to, how you view dyslexia. And let's talk for a second about how this view on dyslexia came about. In 1896, ophthalmologist W. Pringle Morgan set about defining dyslexia. He saw it as a disability and defined it as such, and that has stuck around for over 100 years. Now that's slowly changing, and we will go more in depth as these videos continue. I know there wasn't a lot of content in this video, it is just the start of the book, but we will get more into it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe and hit the bell to stay notified. And until then, I'll see you next time.